My name is Amal Navarro, but that's not the name I was born with. Back then, I was known as Amal bint Fad al-Zahir, a daughter of one of Kuwait's most influential families. My childhood was spent behind fortress-like walls in a mansion wrapped in white stone and guarded like a military base. The world saw opulence, hand-woven Persian rugs, marble halls, golden chandeliers, a private oasis in the center of the home. But inside those walls, I was dying. I wasn't allowed to laugh too loud, speak without permission, or even look at certain men in the eye. My father ruled our home like a sultan. Every word he spoke was law, and every mistake brought shame, beatings, or worse. My mother, once vibrant and full of laughter, had become a ghost. He divorced her when I was 12, through nothing more than a few words over tea, and she disappeared into a back wing of the estate, rarely seen again. I never got to say goodbye to the woman who once tucked me in at night with stories and kisses. All I heard were muffled cries through the walls. From a young age, I was told that God was watching my every move, but not in love and wrath. I was warned that if I didn't wear my hijab, if I questioned the Quran, or if I dared to think for myself, hell awaited me. I tried so hard to be the perfect daughter. I memorized the surahs, fasted during Ramadan, wore black even when the sun burned my skin. But the harder I tried, the more empty I felt. When I was 16, I discovered something that shattered everything. I had borrowed my older brother's phone to send a message, and I stumbled across a photo album, dozens of images of my father in London and Vegas. He was drinking, gambling, laughing with women in tight dresses. The same man who beat me for wearing nail polish was in a nightclub holding champagne. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, whispering prayers that felt like lies. If this was what our religion allowed, this hypocrisy, this cruelty, then what was it really about? I tried to push the questions away, but they festered. When I turned 20, my father announced I would be sent to the United States to study finance. He said it would make me more marketable for marriage. But of course, I would not go alone. My cousin, Rami, was assigned to monitor me. He would live nearby, review my class schedule, and report back on my behavior. I was still in a cage, only this time the bars were invisible. But something strange happened in Dallas. Even with all the restrictions, I tasted a sliver of freedom. My hijab came off the second I was alone in my apartment. I began journaling for the first time. I even started humming along to music I wasn't supposed to know. For the first time, I felt like maybe I could have a life that wasn't just survival. In one of my business classes, I sat next to a girl named Leah Morrison. She was everything I wasn't, open, warm, free. She wore a tiny silver cross around her neck and talked about her church like it was home. I was terrified of her, but I was drawn to her too. Leah didn't push her beliefs on me. She just loved me. She smiled even when I was distant. She brought me coffee on exam days. One day, after class, she offered to pray for my mother, who I had just found out was in the hospital back home after another incident. I didn't know what to say, so I nodded. That night, I cried for the first time in years. It was a deep, soul-level weeping, and something in me cracked open. The news came 2 weeks later. My mother had overdosed. My sister messaged me in secret to say she had tried to end her life again. I never got to talk to her. She slipped into a coma. They wouldn't let me call. They wouldn't let me fly back. I felt like I was watching my life burn from behind glass. That's when I lost control. I started drinking at parties, sneaking out late. I wanted to feel numb, to feel nothing. I tried weed, then pills. Eventually, someone handed me a line of cocaine. I told myself it was just once, but it wasn't once. I kept going deeper. My grades plummeted. Leah stopped seeing me around and started leaving voicemails I didn't return. I felt like God, whoever he was, had abandoned me. Or maybe I had abandoned him. Either way, I felt like I had no home, no name, and no reason to live. And then it happened. March 12th, 2017. I had taken too much. Pills and vodka. My roommate found me on the bathroom floor. I was rushed to the ER, where my heart stopped for nearly 3 minutes. For 3 minutes. I was dead, but what I saw in those 3 minutes felt like an eternity. I remember the moment everything changed. 1 second, I was gasping for air. The next, I was standing in a vast black void. There was no ground beneath me, no sky above, just darkness, thick and endless. But I wasn't alone. In the distance, I saw a narrow bridge. It shimmered like glass, suspended above a deep chasm. Flames danced below it, not like a fire you see in a fireplace. These flames moved, alive and reaching. I could feel their heat even from where I stood. I knew instantly what it was. I had heard of it since childhood. The Sirat, the bridge all souls must cross in Islamic teaching. Below it is hell. If your sins outweigh your good deeds, you fall. I began to walk, barefoot and terrified. My body trembled with every step. I tried to remember the prayers I had memorized as a child. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, but the words felt hollow, powerless. Suddenly, I was surrounded by figures, shadowy, accusing. They whispered in Arabic, listing every sin I had ever committed. The lies, the drugs, the rebellion, even my silent doubts. I could hear my father's voice among them. You dishonored us. I could hear my imam. You were given the truth and you threw it away. I dropped to my knees on the bridge. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. And that's when I realized I was falling. I screamed, Allah, please, help me. But there was no answer, just more flames and an unbearable sense of despair. I can't describe the emptiness I felt in that moment. It was as if my soul was unraveling, like I was being erased. I truly believed that this was the end, that I was doomed, that every chance I had was gone, that God had abandoned me. But then, something pierced the blackness. It started as a soft light in the distance. Then it grew, brighter and brighter, until it became a blazing presence, like a star had burst open before me. I covered my face, trembling. The light was too pure, too holy. I couldn't stand in it. Then, from within that light, a figure stepped forward. He wore a white robe, but not like anything I'd seen. His face shone like the sun. His hands, I saw scars, circular scars in the center of each palm. And somehow, before he even spoke, I knew his name. He said, Amal. I couldn't speak. I was frozen, shaking, undone. He knelt beside me, and his voice was like music and thunder all at once. You were not created for wrath. You were created for love. I said, I don't deserve anything. I'm too dirty. I've done too much. He reached out his scarred hand. I know everything you've done. And I still came. Tears exploded from my eyes. I asked, Are you a prophet? And he smiled, softly, like he had heard that question many times before. I am the Son of God. I am the only way. Not through deeds, not through rules. Through me. I sobbed, but I'm not even Christian. I don't know how to follow you. He lifted me to my feet. I don't need you to know all the answers. I just need your yes. And somehow I gave it, without hesitation. Suddenly, the scenery around us changed. The fire and darkness vanished. We were standing in a garden, so vivid and alive it felt like color itself had been born there. A river flowed with light. There were trees that hummed with music. I saw a throne in the distance, glowing brighter than the sun, surrounded by what I can only describe as beings made of praise. And above all, I felt a presence, a love so fierce, so intimate, I felt like I had always been known. He said, This is your true home. I asked, Then why do I have to leave? He looked into me. Because your story isn't over yet. I have people for you to reach, chains for you to break, and a new name to give you. He walked me back to the bridge. It was still there, but this time the shadows were gone. It was no longer a place of judgment, but a passage. He held my hand. Go. And don't forget, I never left you. Then I woke up. I opened my eyes to bright lights and beeping machines. My throat burned from the breathing tube. Nurses rushed to call the doctor. My roommate stood in the corner, crying. I was alive, but I wasn't the same. I lay in that hospital bed for 2 more days. And every second, I couldn't stop replaying what I had seen, what I had felt. I couldn't deny it anymore. Jesus wasn't just a prophet. He was God. He had come for me, not with judgment, but with grace. When I was discharged, the first person I called was Leah. She cried when she heard my voice. Leah brought me a Bible. I devoured it like I had been starving my entire life. Every page felt like it was written for me. When I read the story of the woman at the well, I broke down in tears. That woman was me, rejected, ashamed, but seen by Jesus anyway. I started attending her church in secret. I hid the Bible under my mattress. I prayed at night, whispering so no one would hear. Then came the day I told my cousin Rami. I had to. I couldn't keep pretending. He went pale. You're an apostate. I found the truth, I said. He left without saying another word. The next day, my father called me. His voice was cold. He told me I was dead to him, that I had brought shame to the family name, that I was no longer a daughter of Al-Zahir. I cried for days. I didn't eat. I couldn't sleep. But even in my grief, I felt peace, not because it didn't hurt, but because I wasn't alone anymore. I wasn't Amal bint Fad anymore. I was Amal Navarro, a name I chose to honor the new life Jesus had given me. Navarro means from the plains. It reminded me of the garden I had seen in heaven, a place of life, of promise. When news of my conversion leaked back home, the threats began. emails, messages, comments. Traitor, infidel, you deserve to burn. I had to move apartments. I lost my student funding. I worked as a barista to survive. Some nights, I went to sleep hungry, but I had never felt freer. I joined a discipleship group at church. I got baptized in a small room with just a few friends. When I came out of that water, I felt clean for the first time in my life. I started sharing my story, first quietly, then more boldly. I spoke at women's groups. I began helping immigrant girls escape abusive households. I led Bible studies in secret with girls who had questions, just like I once did. And one day, I got an anonymous letter in the mail. It had no return address, but I recognized the handwriting. It was from my little sister, Sana. It read, "I had a dream. You were in white, and someone was holding your hand. I want to know the truth too. Please don't stop praying for me." I fell to my knees and wept. God was moving, even where I couldn't see it. If you've made it this far, thank you. I don't know your story. I don't know your pain. But I do know this: Jesus knows you. He sees you, and He still wants you, no matter what you've done, no matter where you've been. I wasn't saved because I was good. I was saved because He is. I lost everything: my family, my title, my money, my name. But I gained the only thing that matters: the love of Jesus Christ. And I promise you He is worth it all. If this story touched your heart, please don't keep it to yourself. Share this testimony with someone who needs hope. Comment below if you need prayer. I read them all. And if you're struggling, if you feel like you're at the edge, I'm living proof that your story isn't over. Jesus is not just a name. He is alive, and He's reaching out to you even now. Let Him in.